Hi everyone, I'm just going to play you a clip from this video about Article 13.
Internet where your videos can no longer be seen. Imagine the internet without your favourite creators. Imagine the internet where new artists are never discovered. Imagine this video without me having a big spot on the middle of my forehead. Hey guys, my name's Carl Golden and today we're going to be talking about Article 13. A lot of people are completely unaware of what Article 13 is and the effects it will have on them as a user of the internet. This doesn't just affect people within the European Union, it also affects people outside of it as well, so pay close attention to this video. I think most YouTubers are aware of this by now, but most of the general public have no idea what's going on with this Article 13, which is very scary indeed. Article 13 is part of a proposed copyright legislation in the European Union. This was created with intention to better protect creativity. It seeks to find ways for copyright holders to better protect their content online. I fully support this idea, but the current proposal of Article 13 will have lots of unintended consequences. Unknown to many people, back in September the 12th of this year, Article 13 was actually voted in Parliament to move forward. However, it's not yet law. It's still being drafted and revised as we speak now, but could be finalised by the end of this year, early next year, which is scary because it could come into fruition in 2 years' time and could be the end of my career and many others. It's scary. As it stands, it could drastically limit the type of content you upload to YouTube within the EU. Educational videos, official music videos, fan music covers, mashups, parodies, memes. I'm not that bothered about the memes personally, but moving on, gaming videos, it's just endless. They're all gone. That's it. There's no more of that. You need to prove everything you upload you own. You cannot upload anything unless you have the rights and you can prove you have the rights. Your favourite YouTubers will not exist anymore. Don't tell me that's not massive. This won't just affect YouTube though. This will affect your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook. It's crazy. This is big news. People need to know about this and they don't, which is why I'm making this video today for you guys.
So there you go, and while he's been talking I've shown you a few articles here about Article 13, and it is a very, very serious issue because what is actually happening here is that we are going to be silenced, aren't we? That is what is happening. We're talking about absolute curtailing of human rights of freedom of speech and expression, which Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google have all invited, haven't they? They've invited this platform for people to express their opinions, share their creativity, share their ideas, share their thinking, whether it be for good or for bad. And this issue did strike me in over the last couple of years as to whether or not YouTube should be liable, because people have been prosecuted for sharing YouTube videos on their Facebook or their Twitter, or for sharing information that they've, from another YouTube video. And it struck me that, well, how can people be prosecuted because they've shared a post that's appeared on Facebook and they've shared that post or they've shared that video, or that maybe they've made a comment about it, or maybe they've shared information in their video from another video, something that's deemed criminal or unlawful. Now, some things are obviously unlawful and criminal, aren't they? If somebody's promoting racial hatred or sharing brutal images, maybe promoting abuse of children. And that's why on YouTube there is an opportunity for people to report a crime. That, look, this video is actually criminal. It's promoting violence against people of colour or Muslims, for example. It's promoting racial hatred. Because freedom of speech and expression does depend a lot, doesn't it, on the respect. If there's no respect with it for our human rights, then it is a crime. And actually that is what this Article 13 threatens to be. Because, again, it's coming forward like, oh, we want to protect the rights, the revenue of artists. We want to protect their copyright. And we know the copyright thing is all connected to money and profits. Even though, when you look at it on the whole, generally speaking, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, these three public formats do overall, generally, improve the profits of artists in general. That's the fact of it. Far more than people are losing through loss of revenue because of copyright infringements. That's the fact of it. And also, you know, with this new world, with the internet, we've got a new technology. Life changes. That's how it is. We don't all sit at home spinning our own cloth anymore, do we? And nobody would really be expecting to earn a full-time living doing that, unless it was for a very small niche market. The vast majority of us are not going to be able to keep a roof over our heads by sitting in our front room spinning and weaving, are we? Because there's machines to do it. And it goes the same, really, doesn't it, with music? Maybe we need to stop producing all these DVDs and CDs and books and things when actually we don't need it in physical form, do we? Maybe we've produced enough stuff on this planet already. Maybe we've got enough plastic out there already. Maybe we need to start turning to the internet, to YouTube, to provide us with the virtual products in terms of, well, it is, the music's not virtual, is it? It's real. Maybe it's time for musicians, bands and what have you, and authors to stop relying on a publisher paying them a lump sum of money because they've written a book and they're going to get it published, or they're a band and they've been signed up to some record label. Maybe it is time for musicians to get totally independent and set up their own YouTube channel and invite Patreon. Invite payments through Patreon. If they're a good enough musician, they're that popular, and they'll be getting their hits out, people will pick up on it, then yeah, that's the way it goes. One year, you know, in one century maybe, people are making vast amounts of money because they're a pop star. Well, maybe it comes down to it that, well, actually, by the time you get into the 21st century, the average pop star is on maybe slightly above the average wage of somebody working in, say, some teaching job or something. Sorry, time moves on. Life changes. If you want to become a millionaire because you can sing, maybe that was unreasonable. Maybe it was quite unreasonable that some people are earning millions and millions of dollars or pounds because they can sing, or because they've written a book. Maybe life's about to get more reasonable. And in a way, that's what Article 13 wants to protect, doesn't it? And the only people who are going to be able to be accepted by YouTube and Facebook, their videos that they're making, is going to be allowed to share on any of these mediums, is going to be people like the BBC. Because how is the average person going to prove that whatever they're sharing actually belongs to them? Are we all going to have to become individual corporations? Are we all going to need to set up our own little corporation in order to be acceptable to YouTube? And what will be acceptable to YouTube? Because, like I say, I thought about it, that well, how come that these individual people can be prosecuted because they've shared a video from YouTube on their Facebook, and now they're being actually criminally prosecuted because they've shared that? So why ain't YouTube being prosecuted then? Why wasn't Facebook being prosecuted? It seemed wrong to me. And I thought about it, and I came to that catch-22 situation. Well, if Facebook and YouTube were going to be liable for what was being uploaded onto their platforms, then there would be no Facebook, there would be no YouTube. So which way is it going to be? But something seemed wrong somewhere, and actually now this Article 13 has made it very clear to me that actually no, nobody should be prosecuted if they've shared a video off YouTube or something that's appeared on their Facebook and they've shared it, then they should not be liable for prosecution, because Facebook can't be prosecuted, because YouTube can't be prosecuted, because these are free formats, because we have freedom of speech and expression, and people will share what is there, and it is up to the authorities to just remove material if it's deemed offensive or unlawful. Then that's up to the authorities to get in touch with Facebook and to explain to them, oh sorry, that's got to be removed, all these posts have got to be removed. Never mind going knocking on individuals' doors, police officers arresting people because, oh, they shared this YouTube video, they've shared this thing they found on the internet. This cannot be. This is a waste of police time, because certain, you know, and that has happened. People have been prosecuted for sharing things that are on the internet, on their Facebook or on their YouTube. Now, some things are obviously criminal, aren't they? And I don't need to go into the details about that. Some things are obviously criminal. That people, if they see an offensive video, there's that button there, you can report it to YouTube. You can report it. There's a list of why you think this video has been marked by yourself as offensive or abusive or criminal, or perhaps it's abusive to children. There is that option. But often, sometimes, certain information, people don't, it isn't obvious that this is abusive. Okay? Often, what is being shared in that video, people think, well, this is important. This is important. This is actually to protect people. People need to know this. You know, it might be offensive to see somebody shot by police. Okay? It might deeply upset and disturb people to see somebody being shot. But if that video is exposing the fact that this is happening in the world, and once is calling for people, look, we need to address this problem of people being shot by police because they've been pulled over for a minor traffic offence, or actually for no reason whatsoever, and they end up dead or battered, then yeah, it's being shared. People are being invited to express an opinion about that. People might share it on their Facebook. It is a disturbing video, but nonetheless, it's being shared because. Now, should the police then go and arrest these people because they're sharing a video that's showing a crime, or they're traumatising people by putting this on their Facebook? So therefore, the whole thing needs to be free. The public needs to be free of liability unless they personally upload a video that is sharing prohibited stuff. But if that stuff is freely available on the internet, then it has to be accepted, it's public, and everybody has got a right to share it and know it. And if it's illegal, if it's, for example, showing child abuse or promoting violence against people, then yeah, remove it. Remove it. Note who has been sharing that. Warn those people that, look, this is not permitted. And you can remove that. You don't need to go around arresting people because of what they've put on their Facebook, when it's something that is already available on YouTube, on Facebook, on the internet, when that person hasn't personally gone and uploaded that thing. And obviously, somebody, when it comes to personal situations and somebody makes slanderous comments, libelous comments, spreading malicious gossip or information about people in order to incite malice against that person, that's between those two individuals to sort that out. This is where you come into civil rights, isn't it? And yes, in certain circumstances the police would have to get involved if somebody's stalking your Facebook and spreading the malicious rumours and gossip about you as an individual. But if those malicious rumours and gossip are all over the internet anyway, and not because that person has uploaded them, they're just there, then the person's just sharing what's there. So that to me is the way around that. That all this prosecuting people because they've shared a YouTube video that was freely available on YouTube, that they have not personally made, that even if they had personally made a video, it contains information that they found on Facebook or Google through a Google search. That information is public available. No one single person should be liable for it. And certainly not YouTube or Google or Facebook or Twitter, because it's an impossibility. And we need to accept that we have rights of freedom of speech and expression, and they come first. They're sacred. The corporations, because this is what it's about, isn't it? They want to deny the rights of the majority in order to protect the profits of a few. That is the whole premise that this world is built on. And really that is what I believe this Article 13 is all about, is silencing the public, isn't it? It's like, show us your tongue. Oh, right, we'll snip that off. That's exactly what they're doing. It's a form of blanket oppression against the global public, because people are turning to YouTube. People are turning to YouTube and the internet and Facebook and Twitter for their news, for their entertainment, for their information. Because they're turning away from the mainstream media. They're turning away from the corporation. And now the corporation wants to take control. It wants to take control of Facebook. It wants to take control of Twitter. It wants to take control of the internet. And cut out the public voice and just have their little corporate squeak booming as loud as possible. It means that I won't be able to, you know, watch people like H. Thomas Ackerman anymore. Or Dutch Saints. Okay? Because, well, he's not a corporation. YouTube won't be allowed to show his videos because they could be liable. He might, unbeknownst to YouTube, is an individual, they've got no control over them. He could share some music maybe, and then YouTube would be liable for copyright infringement. These are very, you know, this is a very serious issue. Like, take for example Abby Martin, Empire Files. Would they be allowed? No. You can guarantee that YouTube in that case, if they're liable, they are only going to accept the most watertight, trusted corporate sources that they possibly can. Because they don't want ever to be liable. They don't want to be paying masses of money out every year to all and sundry. Can they trust Empire Files? Anybody who's not, you know, right in with the corporation, well, I'm sorry. So this is a form of oppression. It's blanket oppression. It's blanket oppression. And this is what needs to happen. And as I say, you know, I did think about it very carefully when it came to realising that people were being prosecuted because they'd shared a video from YouTube onto their Facebook accounts. Videos that are still on YouTube to this day, except the people are prosecuted because they've shared that video. People are prosecuted because they've shared this Facebook post. That then it does get scary, doesn't it? When people are having the police at the door because they've shared a post on Facebook, because they've shared a YouTube video that's already freely available on the internet, but suddenly individual people are getting prosecuted. That is wrong. That is wrong, and in the same sense, obviously it would be wrong to try and prosecute YouTube. Because in this freedom of speech and expression, that is what is where people, that's where we start to form a judgment, isn't it? Because the good, the bad and the ugly and the beautiful are all out there for all to see, and then we start to make our choices, don't we? We start to be influenced by what's out there, and we understand what's negative, what's positive. As more and more people stand with the positive, with the humane, the inhumane get smaller and smaller and smaller, don't they? As a group. Because people don't want to be associated with them. They're not popular. But when you silence the majority, then the negative can be very popular, or they can spread unseen because nobody's really aware of them until, oh, bang, you've been taken out. And how many people get taken out? And that is why YouTube has been so important, because it's been informing people and alerting people to things like 5G. Like, take for example Mark Steele, an expert. He knows what he's talking about. He's warning people about 5G. Oh, corporations don't like him. They're set to make billions out of the 5G rollout. They want to shut people up. They want to shut people up before they start it. They don't want thousands of people all getting on YouTube saying, since they've brought 5G into my neighbourhood, this has happened, look, all the birds are dead, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's going to see it. The revolution shall not be televised. Well, is it going to be a corporate revolution, or is it going to be a revolution for life? Is it going to be a revolution for our humanity? And that is what this is about. And anything, any law that comes into power that threatens, that oppresses our human rights, that is not a law. That is a crime. And that's the fact of it. It's a crime. And that is what Article 13 now threatens to do, is to commit a crime against our human rights. Because we have those human rights right now. YouTube has honoured those human rights. Facebook has honoured those human rights. You know, and I've had my problems with Facebook. I came to the point I was going to close my Facebook account down when I discovered that they had dealings, such close dealings with such an insidious, disgusting organisation as Cambridge Analytica. I was really disgusted. Personally, I'm not bothered if Cambridge Analytica has all my details. But I understand a lot of people are. Some people would be. And nonetheless, such an insidious organisation that resorts to blackmail and bribery, okay, suddenly having access to people's personal information. That's serious. That's serious. That's a lot more serious. That if YouTube is behind the scenes giving all my information to whatever corporate providers out there wants to take advantage of that, that is an abuse. And that's why I was thinking very seriously about closing my Facebook account down, because that was an abuse. But at the end of the day, I kept my Facebook because, on the whole, I'm glad that Facebook's been there. It's been a very useful platform for sharing information, for also receiving information. I've met some amazing, wonderful people through Facebook. And so, on the whole, I have to say thank you. But nonetheless, friend or not, Facebook abused my trust and friendship. And that's what happens sometimes. And yes, it does need to be called to account. And there does need to be tighter restrictions on what a platform like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube can share with outside parties. There does need to be data protection. But that doesn't mean that Facebook should be liable for every post that's put up on its page. That does not mean that YouTube should be liable for every video that everybody uploads. As I say, the options are there for people to report certain videos as offensive, as dangerous, as criminal even maybe. But nonetheless, once it's there, it should be able to be freely shared. And as I say, yes, artists, musicians, creators, filmmakers, perhaps your stuff you're going to have to take that risk. You're going to have to accept, like the rest of us, that the world changes. And what was profitable once, in the past, in the present, oh, sorry, no, that is not going to earn you the same kind of profits. So maybe, if you want to become a millionaire, if you want to become fabulously rich as well as famous, then you're going to have to find another way then, aren't you? Perhaps going into the music industry or writing books isn't the thing for you, if that is what you're looking for through doing that. As far as I'm concerned, musicians make music. That's the way it is. Somebody who's got a vocation to write, have got something to write about, they will write. They will find popularity. People will want to share that. And yeah, so you're going to have to find another way. So alright, you're a famous author, people love reading your books, you're not a millionaire. Well, that's no great loss to the world. I'm sorry, it is no great loss to the world that people who write books and sing songs and make films are no longer going to be fabulously wealthy and living some kind of high life above everybody. Because it's the high time humanity en masse came down to earth, because our planet needs help. And this Article 13 is all about shutting the very humanity up that is now exposing the very serious risks and problems facing our planet, facing humanity today, and all through these same corporations who wish now to impose this Article 13 through the EU, that we know these corporations, the corporate world controls every government, and now they wish to shut us all up because we're all actually not as stupid and ignorant as they judged us. And actually it's the corporations who are stupid and ignorant, because the only thing that they focus on is their profits and their power to control. And they've got their agendas, okay? And part of their agenda now is shutting everybody up and telling us all, look, sorry, yeah, it all got a bit out of hand, this internet stuff. We lost control for a while, but Now we've woken up and we've seen how powerful and influential and how intelligent you people are, and how stupid you're making us look, and how sick and criminal you know, you're exposing our crimes, and we are not going to give up our profits. We are not going to give up our power. We are going to remove your human rights now. We're taking control of the internet, and you're all going back to the 1980s, 1970s, when the internet didn't exist. And if you wanted any information, it was all going to come from your corporate mainstream media, people who've been stamped and approved by your government, and various other such institutions of power who can authenticate you as somebody we can trust. Like, for example, the BBC. So this is a very, very important issue. Because it is a crime against our human rights. And, you know, nobody anywhere is going to be able to set up a similar type platform, because every platform, like I say, Facebook, Twitter, all of them are going to, Instagram, the lot, they're all going to be copyright. They're all going to have to abide by this Article 13 that will make that platform individually liable for whatever content gets uploaded or shared onto that site. So this is a very, very, very serious issue, and we are talking, yes, literally cutting out the global public's tongue. Okay, no more freedom of speech for you, and also cutting out our freedom of expression. No more expression for you. So, and just at this time when things are looking really, really dangerous with this 5G rollout, and then there's all this smart meter stuff, because they do want to shut people up, and they do want to take control of owning the information that the public get fed. They are now closing the doors, aren't they? They're closing the doors of consciousness. This is a threat, and we do need to stand up against it. And like I say, any legislation, any law that curtails our human rights, it isn't a law, it's a crime, and we need to stop this crime. So I suggest, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, you're going to have to get together. You're going to have to do something. You know, what you need to do is to maybe organise a petition or an online statement that you're going to sign it. How many artists, how many musicians, to say, no, we do not want this Article 13. Because at the end of the day, it will actually limit the amount of music and art and literature that is available to us now. A lot of those people will be cut out, precisely because they don't suit the flavour of the corporation. And like I say, share this information. I'll leave you the links. Talk about it with people. This is serious. It is very, very, very serious.